And here we are. It's the end of the night for the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and the suspense goes on, folks, for some of those key categories for next week's Academy Awards. I was having a really solid night. Went 5 for 6 on the major film categories, including a couple tougher categories like Best Actor and Best Actress. I was a little shaky on going against the trend a little bit from what we saw, say, at BAFTA. Adrian Brody has not lost a Best Actor category yet this year at the televised awards, and yet he did tonight to Timothée Chalamet. And I'm like, okay, here comes Wicked, and they gave it to Conclave. So that totally leaves the Best Picture category still in some suspense. So the major thing, again, we have to remember is that, it's worth, reiterating, though I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this and know, but Oscar voting did close on Tuesday, this last Tuesday. So all the votes are in. PricewaterhouseCoopers are tabulating the votes, probably, maybe not as we speak, but they're probably continuing to tabulate. And in certain categories, Best Picture certainly being one of them because of the preferential ballot. And it's there's still some genuine suspense here. Conclave has now taken SAG Ensemble and the BAFTA for Best Film. Anora, the meanwhile, still has 2 of the major guild wins with the Directors Guild and Producers Guild. And of course, that was happening shortly after the nominations were out and while Oscar voting was still going on. BAFTA happened just 2 days before Oscar voting closed. So again, it's just going to be a big question of how many of the voters, both on the state side and the international side, that voted for Conclave are going to stick true to that and still vote for Conclave for Best Picture at the Oscars. And this is like 2015. It's like 2017 at the Oscars, where we know there's going to be some suspense. We know that it's at least a legit two-way race. And here's the thing, too. It's probably down to those 2 films. If you want to handicap Best Picture to those 2 films, it's probably down to those 2. But I can only say that and still be like, okay, well, maybe The Brutalist, which didn't win BAFTA. It's only major win so far to Guild, not to Guild, excuse me. It's only major win at one of these big televised awards for the top prize for Best Film was at the Golden Globe, which again has no overlap for the voters. And yet somehow, if we look at it, I don't know. Part of me says, okay, well, what if that one still comes back and wins Best Director somehow? Because I don't think Brady Corbett is totally, completely out of the race. And then you have, arguably, I think a movie like Wicked tonight, not winning for Ensemble, actually going 0 for 5, which is, this is only, for a film that's been nominated that many times in a single year by SAG, only Banshees of Inisherin has been also shut out going 0 for 5, which obviously that was only a few years ago. Since they've included the stunt category, it's a little easier to get to 5 total nominations. So it's a rare thing. It's only 2 out of, I think I counted just before, I think it was 6 films have achieved 5 nominations at SAG, and it's only the second time that it's been shut out. Anora also got shut out here tonight. Mikey Madison couldn't win Best Actress. Instead, they gave it to Demi Moore, and that is still another one that we're gonna be in suspense up until Tuesday. So really, the question is going to be though, because I think Wicked not winning here tonight for SAG Ensemble, this was kind of the last shot. It's like, okay, if it couldn't win here, I don't see it repeating at the Oscars again without the screenplay and the directing bids. It's really tough to win that category, to win that award anyways without those nominations. So I think Wicked is done. I think it'll get the 2 wins for sure in the design categories. It might pick up Best Sound. I know this cinema audio guilds, the various audio guilds out there for that would be the equivalent of Best Sound at the Oscars. Kind of split. It looks like Dune Part 2 and Wicked won a few awards tonight at whichever one they had. I think it was the Editors Guild. And the Sound Mixing Guild last night gave it to A Complete Unknown, which I actually had picked at the Oscars. I don't think I had it predicted for the Guild, because I think I still had, for my old predictions, I still had Wicked or Dune Part 2 or something winning that. So that category is still up in the air, too. Not that it's, and it's a tech category, it's worth noting, but yeah, I I don't know. Now, I mentioned The Brutalist just because, okay, well, it did, get some major wins at BAFTA. I still expect, even with Timothée Chalamet's win here tonight at SAG, I'm still predicting Adrian Brody at the Oscars. I think this is too late. Again, I think this was more a case of, with the particular SAG voters, more love for A Complete Unknown, which is this is the first major win outside of, if you don't count the Cinema Audio Guild from last night. This is the first major win for that film at a televised award show and at a major award show. So, so I think it's just a hair too late. If this, if SAG had been 2-3 weeks ago and we had gotten, this now back and forth between Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet, I think that race would have been much more heated, much more up in the air. But at this point, Adrian has really, this was the only spot he lost. And it's, again, I think it's a sign, just because The Brutalist had no other support tonight, no other nominations, it's more a sign, yes, that they do prefer A Complete Unknown over The Brutalist. And, and Anora being shut out here, I had it predicted to be shut out, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, if Mikey had won here tonight, I think that would have really cleared up Best Actress. I think she would have been the favorite going forward. Demi, though, winning here tonight definitely still keeps her candidacy in check, and it's getting her major wins before with Golden Globes and with the Critics' Choice, both of which were televised and I'm sure seen by plenty of voters and stuff. And The Substance obviously got its fair share of nominations. I'm still I don't think, even with the win tonight, I still don't think Demi Moore has sealed that category, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I might switch over to Mikey Madison at the Oscars. I might. Again, because this win comes after voting is closed, we know this isn't going to win over any other voters. It's, everything's already done. And in the last moment, we did see that there was support for Anora over at BAFTA. And again, how much of that is also going to be, okay, the international voters and everything, and how much of that was the European style of the film, helping that one over Demi in The Substance, which it did okay at BAFTA nominations-wise, still got the directing nominations, still got the screenplay nomination. Demi was nominated, of course, over there as well. It didn't get anything as far as wins except for the makeup category, though. And meanwhile, Anora picked up Best Casting as well. Even though it couldn't win for Best Film, it couldn't win for its screenplay over there and stuff. I don't know. Because you've also got, with the Producers and Directors Guild, they're also going for both for Anora. And we've got plenty of international voters in both of those guilds as well. So everything is just kind of all over the place. We're just not really seeing a bunch of unity here. Even coming down the stretch. Because again, if Anora had won here tonight for Screen Actors Guild, then it has the Triple Crown. It has Producers Guild, Directors Guild, and the Actors Guild. Rarely do we see movies win all three of those and then go on to lose Best Picture. God, I'd have to remember back. I don't know if have we actually seen one do that in recent years? I can't think off the top of my head. Because let me think. Because Gladiator lost both the guilds. Yeah, I was thinking back to movies that have done splits and stuff. But I don't think it's ever happened. But again, I think maybe we looked at this some other time. But because I know 2015 the guilds were all over the place. 2017 there was some splitting going on. Shape of Water had won Producers Guild, Directors Guild, but we saw Three Billboards win BAFTA, Globes, and it also won at SAG, so that was a pretty split year and everything. Boy, I just don't know. So, okay, let's break this down this way. Based off the winners tonight, let's just really quick just break those down here just so we have it. So Conclave did win for Ensemble. We mentioned that. We mentioned Demi Moore. We mentioned Timothée Chalamet. In the supporting races, those two went to the kind of expected winners, I should say at this point, Kieran Culkin and Zoe Saldana. They've literally won everywhere. They've repeated everywhere. I don't see any slowdown for them. I think they've both got their Oscars come next Sunday. And then for Stunt Ensemble, that went to The Fall Guy. That ended up being the correct choice. I was kind of split on that one. I was like, well, we could go with Deadpool. They could go with Dune. But yeah, they ended up going with the movie that has, the stunts kind of front and center. So, so I guess the question now is going to be, okay, for the Oscars, based off of the voting tonight and based off everything that's happened in the last couple weeks here, last 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long ago TGA, PGA was, where am I leaning? What the hell am I picking right now? Just based off now. Now, again, I'll open myself up because I do have, we've got almost a full week here to change the predictions and go back and forth and overthink things and pick the right winner only to pick the wrong winner later and stuff. Because, I want to talk about Best Picture. I want to talk about Best Actress. I want to talk about Director. The sound category is up for debate, and the original screenplay category. Those are kind of the big 5 mysteries at this point at the Oscars. With Director probably being, a lesser one for me. But, God, I don't know. I mean, yeah. And one thing I don't think I've mentioned it yet this year, but several other people have pointed it out. And now with Conclave's win tonight here at SAG, this could be one of those superstitious things that becomes true. Whenever Ralph Fiennes has been nominated for an Oscar, his movie has gone on to win Best Picture. Think about it. Schindler's List and, what the hell's the name of it? English Patient. Both were Best Picture winners, and he also was featured in The Hurt Locker, another Best Picture winner. So he's been in 3. He could now be in 4 with Conclave. Boy, I don't know. Because, it's been a rare occurrence here in the last 25 years to see a movie win DGA and PGA and then go on to lose Best Picture. Let's think about it here, because here's the thing. Let me look up really quick here, because the year 2000, that's when Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon won Producers Guild, Directors Guild, and then went on to lose at the Oscars, as I recall. So, I remember we did the research on this quite a few years ago, but I believe that was true. I was going to say, who won at BAFTA that year for Best Film? And that actually went to our eventual Best Picture winner, Gladiator. Let's see here. Just triple checking my math here, but I believe that one won for Producers Guild, did it not? I'm not seeing it in their official listing here. Hang on. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot here. Film Awards. Here we go. Hang on. I don't think this is. No. This isn't even fucking close. I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, here we go. This should have the list. I hope. Because I've been saying that on and off here for the last couple of weeks, and now it's like, okay, now I'm questioning myself for some damn reason. Okay, no, I had it wrong. Gladiator won it. Okay, not Crouching Tiger. Okay, what was the thing when I looked it up? I was like, what was I thinking then when I was looking at the shot for Gladiator here? But no, yeah, Gladiator won PGA that year. Well, who's the other one I was thinking of that has won PGA, DJ, and then lost at the Oscars? I remember. Okay, so I remember. Sorry, this is all, I'm shooting this live, so we're we're doing this thing. But I was thinking the last time. Why I mentioned this one. This is the last time we saw a movie win DGA. This and 1917 were the 2 times we've seen a DGA winner go on to lose either Best Director or Best Picture, because traditionally you'll win one of the 2 when that happens. So that's what I was thinking of, not winning both PGA and DGA. So good thing I double checked, because that was an incorrect. Saying on my part. Okay, so let's see here. Since its inception, here we go. These are the 10 times that your Best Picture winner at the Oscars also did not line up with the Producers Guild, and that's going to be The Crying Game, Apollo 13, Saving Private Ryan, Moulin Rouge, Aviator, Brokeback Mountain, Little Miss Sunshine, Big Short, La La Land, and 1917. Let's see here. So amongst those, Brokeback won DGA, as I recall. Let's look this up here to make sure. Because for the longest time I've been going on about how it was that one. Funny enough, another movie directed by Ang Lee. But let's see here. Yes, in that case, he did win for DGA that year, and it was a case where he lost both best. He won best director that year. The movie lost best picture though. Is that one? So that one, in that case, DGA and PGA lined up, and they went with Crash for best picture. So that's an example there. That's what I was talking about, because it would be this year would be one of those. So let's see on this list. Do they have the same ones here? I think they do. Okay. Let's see here. Who else? Apollo 13 is another one. That won for the Producers Guild and the Directors Guild and lost to Braveheart. Then we've got to go to Sam Mendes, 1917, won for both PGA and DGA, and then that also won BAFTA, but ended up losing to Parasite. So, the tricky part is none of these three have the exact same overlap, because Brokeback, I believe, did Brokeback also win BAFTA? It might have. Otherwise, it might be an oddball one I'm thinking of that won Best Film that year. No. It went to BAFTA. Yeah, so that's one of the rare times I think in Oscar history where you see a BAFTA winner, a PGA winner, a DGA winner, and that one, as I recall, that one was nominated but lost SAG. Yeah, actually, that won nothing at SAG that year. It went to 2005. What won at SAG that year? Funny enough, Crash. There you go. But anyhow, so in this case, let's say, so it doesn't quite line up. That lines up with 1917 as far as past examples. But Apollo 13, I don't think that won at BAFTA that year. It wasn't even nominated for Best Picture that year. And that was in a little, different era for BAFTA. Their whole thing for lining up like the calendar between British releases in the greater UK area, mostly in Britain proper and stuff, and elsewhere in the country, all that. When it didn't line up that way, that meant you'd have different contenders, at the Oscars one year, competing at BAFTA the following year. Rarely would be the year before, very rarely. I can't even think of any examples right now of any like British actors who were nominated at BAFTA first, then their movie came out in the States, and then they eventually got nominated at the Oscars. I can't even think of any examples off the top of my head, but I'm sure if there are any, it's a very, very small number. Anyhow, but so we don't really have too many in the last 25 years, or really since the inception of the PGA award. We haven't seen any movies win PGA, win DGA, and then lose BAFTA, and then go on to lose Best Picture. Not exactly. Not that I'm thinking, or come back to win Best Picture either. I don't think. Well, I shouldn't say that. No. I'd have to go through the whole freaking list here. So the question is, okay, if you win these two, do you lose at the Oscars? And the answer is, well, you got the three examples there. You've got Apollo 13, you've got Brokeback Mountain, you've got 1917. Two of those three won BAFTA as well. So, so when you look at it that way, this would be the first time since 1995 that we see a movie win these two, lose BAFTA, or in this case, not even be nominated for BAFTA, and then go on to lose Best Picture. So that's where Nora would end up if that ended up being true. Okay. It's funny that I think back on it now. Conclave was my original pick to win PGA, and yet it lost there. Edward Berger ended up getting shafted by the Oscars again for that Best Directing category. And yet, here we can see the movie come back to win Best Picture without that. It also missed out, not that it's a key, crucial category, but like the cinematography category is another one that Conclave was more or less expected to be nominated in, and it couldn't get a nomination there. So now, as some have pointed out, Conclave, if it wins Best Picture, it's on track to kind of do an Argo. It's on track to win for possibly film editing, where it won at BAFTA. And it's competitive at the Oscars, though it's not really like a clear and obvious choice to me. That's why I've been a little hesitant to switch over to Conclave. A win in screenplay, which it's probably guaranteed to have. Again, outside of Nickel Boys winning at WGA where Conclave was not eligible. That's really the only competition, I think, in that category where you have an example of a film that has enough raw emotion and enough raw support behind it where it can pull an upset. And I don't sense that Nickel Boys is going to continue on that path forward. It really, even though it got nominated to BAFTA, it couldn't win there over Conclave and so on and so forth. Basically what I'm saying, every time Nickel Boys has been nominated against Conclave, it has lost. So it's got the screenplay win. Then it would win for picture, and then that's when the Argo trifecta, more or less, is complete. And I'm trying to think here. I think there's maybe one or two other examples out there in the past where it's been exactly those three, but those examples are not coming. Crash is one. There you go. See, Crash is another one, and Crash, like Conclave, though I don't believe that one won at BAFTA, though. That's going to be... Let me triple check. Be amazing if it did, right? Because I don't remember off the top of my head. 2005. No, we just looked it up. It went to Brokeback Mountain. That's right. So, yeah, that one lost BAFTA. And yet went on to win those 3 Oscars and upset Brokeback Mountain for Best Picture. So, boy, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, this is tough. I'm just looking at the stats here to back it up and stuff, and it's like, okay, Conclave would have to be on the level of something like Crash. It would have to, have lost these major ones and everything, win SAG, and then go on to win Best Picture. I don't know. That's tough. And obviously Crash, its reputation through film history now, and just in the last 20 years or so since the movie's come out, God, nobody really remembers Crash that fondly. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that's like overly fond of Crash and says, nope, it was the best movie of that year. And it was a pretty, I won't say like massive upset, but it was like a pretty giant upset. It was the Moonlight of its time. Not obviously the exact same circumstances, but it's like, okay, you see a movie continually win over and over again at these major awards, and then it just, for whatever reason, falls short at one of the crucial ones, and here comes this other movie to pick up the pieces. Except in that case, Moonlight, its only equivalent win for Best Film up to that point in any of these major award shows was at the Golden Globes, if you don't count the WGA, which I traditionally don't, because again, it's not really a fair thing because of the number of writers year after year after year after year. They're not eligible for that award. Otherwise, they probably would sweep it, It's just kind of an unfortunate thing. So, it's weird because here we've seen also the second time this year that Anora has been blanked by an award show because the Golden Globes couldn't give it anything, and we saw the SAG Awards tonight also not give it anything. And again, I'd have to look here, but when we look at those previous examples of films that have won PGA, DGA, and then lost Best Picture, have they ever been... Now, I was thinking 1917, I remember, got nothing, no support whatsoever from SAG. So, and that was that was like a major roadblock for me from predicting 1917 to win. I'd have to look up here. Did Apollo 13 at any of the award shows also get blanked by anybody? Because it still won a couple Oscars and stuff. It still did win a couple BAFTA awards, even though it wasn't up for like Best Picture or anything. But it did. Hang on a second. It got blanked by the Golden Globes that year. It had 4 nominations, and it lost all of them. It lost for director, picture, and the 2 supporting acting categories. It also, though, to be fair, it did win SAG. So there you go. That's an example. I was like, okay, since we've had the Triple Crown, Apollo 13 is the only one that's won PGA, DGA, SAG, and then gone on to lose Best Picture. So, I'm trying to think if there's any other ones, but that's an example of one. And that was the first year that SAG was out. So with the featured cast and motion picture and stuff, or outstanding ensemble, if you will, because the year before it almost undoubtedly would have gone to Forrest Gump. That was the first year of SAG as a televised award show and stuff. So yeah, and they, for whatever reason, did not have an ensemble category there. Still in the early years. So yeah, I've used up all this time to talk about it, think it over, and be like, okay, which way am I leaning? Which way am I leaning? I don't know. Just the fact, because when we look at these, though, the two award shows that Anora got blanked out at, Conclave still picks up a win. It still had a couple wins at Critics' Choice. Obviously, it got major wins at BAFTA. Conclave has shown so far, even though, yes, it's missing that director nomination, which is traditionally a big no-no. We've seen a couple in the last few years here. We've seen Coda do it. We've seen Green Book do it. Go on to win Best Picture without its director nominated. We can go back to Argo. Argo did it, of course, in 2012. I'll go back to Driving Miss Daisy. Driving Miss Daisy, that was the first time in a long time we'd seen our Best Picture winner not nominated for Best Director. I think that was, if I remember correctly, because it's in the research I did for my video series, which is still coming out. Haven't been able to work on it lately, but hopefully when the Oscar stuff dies down here after next week, I can have some more spare time to work on it. I think when Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture, it was the first time since Grand Hotel that we saw a movie win Best Picture without its director nominated. I think it went back that far. Like, that's how crucial that award was to the Best Picture candidacy. And yet, since then, or really we go back to 2012 with Argo, since then, this would be, if it happens with Conclave, it will be our fourth time in 12 years that it's happened, which is, just shows you. It was almost 25 years between Driving Miss Daisy and Argo. But yeah, if we think about it again, it's like, okay, yep, Argo, and then Coda, and Green Book. And I don't think I'm missing one there. But yeah. But, yeah. And we've shown, and it's shown with Anora, it hasn't been able to capitalize on that original screenplay prize. It hasn't consistently won the Best Actress prize. And even at BAFTA, after the PGA and DGA wins, and Sean Baker up there, they still didn't give it to Sean Baker. And I really don't see a scenario where Anora is going to pull a Power of the Dog or The Graduate, where it's going to be nominated across these categories, win for its director, and lose everything else. I really do not see Anora doing that. So you know what? I'm going to say fuck it. We're going to have another major crash-like night where Conclave, without the DGA or PGA wins BAFTA, wins SAG, goes on to win Best Picture. So that's as of tonight. Now, again, I'm going to, go back and forth and fight about it over and over again and be like, okay, I think it's, it'll probably be, I'll go back and forth between Anora and Conclave here in the next 48 to 72 hours and stuff. Maybe by Thursday I'll have my final picks ready. Because I don't want to wait till Saturday. I don't want to wait till Friday and overthink things. I want to, really, crack down on it here in the next couple days, and hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday of this week have my final answers with the various categories. But I think in this case, yeah, we have to go with Conclave. It's just shown, even though, yes, it's not the most nominated film, even though it's not a movie that is up for director this year and stuff, it's still a movie that can win at the various award shows, at least take one major prize at all of them. So, yeah, that's going to be my pick for now. Then in the directing category, boy, if Anora all of a sudden becomes more vulnerable for Best Picture, is Sean Baker now more vulnerable for Best Director? All of a sudden I have to say yes, and all of a sudden I have to say maybe Brady Corbett is not done in that category. Maybe he can actually still come through, and BAFTA is going to end up being correct with its Best Film and Best Director nomination, or winners, I should say, winners. I don't know, because again, it'd be a weird scenario if Conclave wins for Picture, and yet we see Anora win in Director. Maybe it also pulls along Actress or Screenplay, or a combination of those. Or maybe it still sticks around and wins in Film Editing, possibly. I don't know. It's just going to be really weird, and it's too bad too because the ACETI Awards they're kind of like the WGAs from last year. For whatever reason, their award ceremony is so far down the road that they're going to happen. I think it's the week after the Oscars, so we don't have a precursor for that. We don't have. And I think at this point, Anora is the favorite to win for the comedy editing award, and Conclave is the favorite to win for the drama award. So that I don't think that would have helped us way too much, anyways, unless one of those two films had lost. But up to this point, I think it's those two are the front runners right now in their respective categories. But yeah, I don't know, that director race now. That has me questioning it because. Okay, if Anora is now not the favorite to win Best Picture just based off of the SAG and BAFTA combo that we've seen with Conclave, all of a sudden, does Brady Corbett come back into the picture? He has the Golden Globe win and he has the BAFTA win. And that's what I'm going to have to do some research on. I'm not going to live do the research here tonight like I did on some of these other awards here just recently, but yeah, because I'm like, okay, the BAFTA and the BAFTA and the Golden Globe combination has proven to win in a couple of things. Maybe not for director, but I'm thinking of one right now, and that's Christoph Waltz winning both those in the supporting acting category, and then coming back to win for Best Supporting Actor for Django. And he even got that without a SAG nomination that year too. So yeah, which is kind of a rare feat to pull off in any acting category. But anyways, that's when I'll have to look over here and be like, okay, if you win both those awards, the Globes and the BAFTA, and then lose a DGA, can you go on to win Best Director? Again, I'd have to. I'll do some deep research into that, and I'll see what comes up. Let's see. Because it's... Unless Mel Gibson did it, but I don't think he did. I don't think Mel Gibson won BAFTA that year, but yeah. he'd be one I'd think of. Because he lost the DGA that year to, we just talked about with Ron Howard for Apollo 13. But anyways, I don't know, man. That one it's going to be weird because, again, as we've seen... A couple of these award shows with Anora, it's like, okay, they'll either blank it or they'll give it, like, Critics' Choice. Surprisingly, they gave it nothing all through the night, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, but it's our Best Picture. It's like, huh? Okay. And then you have BAFTA. It's like, okay, we can't give it screenplay. And it was, a little bit of a tougher race there for Best Director and Best Film over there, where I thought it was, it would have really been a big, big show of strength that had won there. But it did win Actress, though. So it's like, okay, well, it gets those two, but it can't win Screenplay. It can't win Best Film and cement itself as the Best Picture frontrunner. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. So, God, I just don't know. Again, I just really do not see a scenario where Anora loses everything, and still wins for Best Director. I just can't see that happening. And at this rate, it's also going to be weird for it to win a combination of director and at least one other prize, be it editing or actress or original screenplay, and still go on to lose, and then go on to lose Best Picture to Conclave. I just don't know. I just don't know. And we haven't seen, other than, arguably Indie Spirits, which again doesn't have hardly any voting overlap last I checked with Oscar voters. But it's rare to see Anora sweep at one of these award shows too. Because that one for leading actor, or male or female, because it's gender neutral there. One for director and one for film just last night. And that's, it's going to be really strange. So speaking of her, Mikey Madison and stuff in Best Actress, again, even though Demi just won here tonight for SAG, I don't think that locks it up. I think there's enough debate, there's enough question left in that because of the BAFTA win by Mikey. If Demi had won BAFTA, I think the whole thing, you just go with her winning based off of all the awards lining up. But now it's a question mark. Because also, will we then point to, if Anora does lose for Best Actress, will we point to that on the night of, because it'll be probably the penultimate award before Best Picture, if the last few award shows have shown us anything, other than the 2020, the COVID year, where all of a sudden they just did Best Picture third to last, and then did Best Actress, and then did Best Actor. And we saw how that went. But anyways, it's just going to be a question of, okay, do we see that, as a late sign that's like, oh, yep, Honora is still in trouble for Best Picture. And how weird would it be if Honora comes out, let's say it wins film editing that night, next Sunday. Let's say it wins director, and then Mikey loses Best Actress. It's like, we're going to be like, okay, now what? Because it looked like maybe Honora was getting back on track. And that's why it's going to be so fun to watch ourselves if we, record it or whatever on Oscars night, because we're going to be like, okay, it's going to be like, okay, this sign points to this points to that. If Conclave loses film editing, does that mean it's lost Best Picture? If, if Honora loses Best Director, does that mean it's done for Best Picture still? Oh boy, it's just going to be whatever. But yeah, still, regardless though, one point we will have to clarify here for sure. If Conclave does end up being our Best Picture winner, then we know for sure there's going to be a split between director and picture, because it's clearly not nominated there. Okay, so based on that line of thinking, based on tonight I'm saying Conclave wins for picture, I think I have to go with the BAFTA winner. I think I have to go back to Brady Corbett winning for Best Director. Strange as that is, that he was, again, he was almost the preordained winner in that category, after not only after the Globes win, but after, the morning of Oscar nominations too. It's like he was on track to win that category. All of a sudden, here comes John M. Chu, who's not nominated anywhere else, beating him out at Critics' Choice, and the next night, DGA losing DGA there, and it going to Honora and Sean Baker. It's like, oh boy, I don't know. And I really, it's not like since the AI controversies that have hit the Brutalist, it's not like since then I've seen a lot of think pieces of people saying, no, you got this wrong or anything. And I really haven't read anything that says that Oscar voters have just completely, gone against the controversies or anything. And I still haven't read way too much. I think Hollywood Reporter today published, funny enough, they published one of their Oscar voter pools, or not pools, excuse me, one of their Oscar voting ballots where they actually talked to an actual Oscar voter. As I recall, they gave Conclave Best Picture, and they gave in their ranking they put Conclave first, and then they put The Brutalist second. Who they gave Best Director to? I forgot already. Oh geez, who they gave it to? It wasn't Sean Baker. Was it Brady? I think it was Brady Corbett they gave Best Director to. So I don't know. And obviously that's just one ballot. We can't run, all of our, predictions based off of one ballot that the Hollywood Reporter prints. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just based off the thing tonight. Yeah, I think I would have to go with Brady Corbett, and I'll have to bounce back and forth in the next couple days. For Best Actress, though, does that also mean Honora's going to lose there? Because so far I'm going with 2 BAFTA winners. Do I predict a third BAFTA repeat winner with that one? Boy, the way the calendar lines up, you would think so. See, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. A lot of us, we're just going to have to go into the night ready to have missed several of these categories. We're just going to have to go in knowing that what we put down for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, a few of these other categories here and there, we just have to be ready to get those wrong. Because in previous years, it's been like, okay, like last year, it felt like, okay, the top 8 categories felt really solid. It was like Oppenheimer, we knew had Best Actor, it had Supporting Actor, it had Picture and Director, so it had those 4. We knew that lead actress was between Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone, the Battle of the Stones. We knew it was down to those 2. And then, who was our supporting actress? It was, oh geez, how have I forgotten this already? Wasn't it someone who swept? Oh God, I can't even remember. Heavens to Betsy, I can't. Now I remember adapted screenplay. We knew was going to go to American Fiction, though. That one I remember. But God, who won supporting actress last year? That's embarrassing. Oh, it was for The Holdovers. Yeah. I can't even pronounce her name now because it's one of those. I've heard it pronounced several different ways, but yeah. That was a preordained one as well. And then original screenplay, I know there was some debate, but I think we all got it right with Anatomy of a Fall. A lot of us got it right with Anatomy of a Fall winning that one. So, yeah, really the only of the top 8 categories last year, Best Actress was the only one where there was arguably some suspense with who was going to win, because Emma had won BAFTA, and then we'd seen Lily Gladstone win at the Globes and at at SAG, and they'd split. Actually, I should say they split the Globes because Emma was over in the comedy musical category, and Emma also then won at Critics' Choice. So, yeah, this year's a lot less even Steven. It's a lot more wild guesses and stuff. God, even though I've been saying this all night, it's like, Demi, I think just given that she's one of all these major award shows, everything but BAFTA, I think you still have to give the advantage to Demi Moore. I think she's gotten more wins. And again, if Mikey had won here tonight for Best Actress, I think it would have almost been the nail in the coffin. It would have been like, okay, based off of how the wind has been blowing here, we know that a lot of these industry awards are supporting Mikey's performance over Demi's performance. And yet both arguments, both these candidates make sense when you look at Oscar history, because Oscar history in this category, they either really like an ingenue, it's someone who's young, up and coming. You can go back to Grace Kelly, you can go to Emma Stone the first time, you can go to Brie Larson, you can go to Gwyneth Paltrow, you can go to a lot of examples there, or you can go with the more veteran actress, be it Katharine Hepburn a couple times, be it Julianne Moore, and so on and so forth. This, Demi Moore is one of those cases as well, where it's like it's a more veteran actress who's been around the block a few times, possibly has been nominated at 1 or 2 award shows and stuff, and then this is her Oscar moment. I think I got to go Demi Moore then for right now. But again, I'll bounce back and forth. Maybe the BAFTA overload. Maybe I'll bounce back to the BAFTA winner, which in this case would be Mikey Madison. It'll be a back and forth for me for sure. Original screenplay is another tougher one here. Obviously, we know that there was no real genuine insight from tonight's winners into that category. I don't know, because we had Critics' Choice for the original award go to The Substance. We saw BAFTA go with A Real Pain. WGA did go to Anora. Man, that's tough. And I think it probably is down to those three. I don't suspect that the Brutalist or September 5 is going to be much of a challenge for that category. I don't know. Just given all this, again, maybe original screenplay becomes the consolation prize for Sean Baker. It's like, okay, if we're not going to give you a director in a straight vote, maybe Anora is in trouble for Best Picture, where he is a producer and he would get an Oscar. Maybe the consolation prize, the one we can for sure give him, is original screenplay. That line of thinking, though, can get us in trouble, because we were kind of thinking that with Wes Anderson in 2014. It's like, yep, they can give him that, and then Alejandro Iñárritu can win for director, and then maybe they could give it to Boyhood. They can give director to Boyhood for Richard Linklater, and then Birdman would win Best Picture, and then that's where Alejandro Iñárritu gets his Oscar. Nope, all three go to Alejandro Iñárritu. So it's like, I don't know. And in this case, it's like, we know, well, with Conclave, we know it can't go to all the major categories can't go to Conclave, because we know Edward Berger, he's not going to win for director because he's not nominated. Brady Corbett, though, he could win. That's the way you could split it. If Brady wins director, Conclave wins picture, and I believe Edward Berger, he's a producer on the movie, correct? I believe he is. No, he is not. He is not a producer that would be, he would not get an Oscar for this. Okay. So yeah, he can't personally win an Oscar. If it wins Best Picture, the only way I don't think he can this year. No, the only way he would have been able to is for director, and he's not nominated. But yeah, if Brady wins director, and then you could say Conclave, okay, if it wins Best Picture, and then if you want to give Sean Baker something, he could still win for editing. That's another way for him to win, but he could also take the original screenplay prize. And again, that could end up being a consolation prize for Anora. Jeez. And then you got The Substance, which The Substance showed with Critics' Choice. Yep, they're okay. They're comfortable giving it makeup. They're comfortable giving it Best Actress and letting screenplay go along for the ride. So, I don't know. And then you've got a Real Pain, which will have support because we know Kieran Culkin's going to win, and the BAFTA support for its screenplay bid as well. I don't know. I think, if people were going to complain a little bit or make the argument of, it's Jesse Eisenberg, who's not really a known writer or stuff. It's like, if that was going to be the trouble, then I think we would have seen that with The Branch not giving him a nomination. But as it turned out, he still got nominated. Oh boy, I don't know. That one is a real clusterfuck because it's like we have not seen any one of those films get repeat wins. So, and we can't go again. One of the last times that happened was Green Book, the year of Green Book. We can't go with that one because that one for that one for the Golden Globes, and then went on to win at the Oscars. You know, this year in the original screenplay category, our winner cannot come from the Golden Globe winner because that was Conclave, which is on the adapted side. So there's really no help from the Golden Globes this year. So it's got to come down to one of those three being a repeat from those other three award shows. And yeah, it's going to feel a little strange, but I think if it gets shut out of Best Picture, it gets shut out of Director, and Mikey loses, and it loses film editing to Conclave, the only other spot it can win is going to be Screenplay. And it's going to be, I think, even though it's been blanked twice, I don't know if the Oscars are going to blank it. I think with the support it's gotten from some of the other guilds here and stuff, I think it's got to get something. So I've got to put it down for at least one of these, and I think Screenplay is the natural get. And, I think it goes to Anora. And then for sound, just as a quick one, Best Sound. That one's really up in the air still. Because initially I was thinking, when the nominations were out, I was like, okay, Wicked, if it gets on a track here and starts winning some of these technical awards, okay, it can get Best Sound, it can get Best, both the design categories, and it can get maybe Best Makeup also along for the ride. Since then, the makeup category, nope, that belongs to the substance. That has, kind of really, really cemented itself there. But the two design categories, though, have been cemented for Wicked. Wicked has really won basically everything it can up to this point for those various categories. So then you've got a Complete Unknown, which doesn't look really, really solid anywhere. It's not winning director. It's probably not winning picture. It's probably not winning for its screenplay. It's like, where else are you going to award it? Because the two supporting acting categories, those are also pretty locked up. We just named costume design. That's another nomination it got. That's going to Wicked. So if you don't give it Best Actor, which again, even though he won tonight, I don't think that's enough for Timothée to get the edge over Adrian Brody. I think that's more a SAG thing. So I think he's going to lose that one as well. So the only other place you can award it then is Best Sound, if you want to give it something. Otherwise, if you're comfortable giving it, having it go 0 for 8, okay, then it goes 0 for 8. So yeah, and I've been down this road before. I've been down this road where I'm like, no, I've picked something and I've been confident in it and I kind of don't want to give it up, and it ends up, costing me. So just based off the vote tonight, and not based off the vote tonight, I should say, but just based off how some of the guilds have been a little split here, I think it's also, because Complete Unknown also, I was thinking, okay, it's a musical biopic. We saw Bohemian Rhapsody do really well with the sound categories, one of the last times they split between sound mixing and sound editing. You've still got Wicked, which is a movie that's about, it has music in it and stuff. So I think as of tonight, I would go with Wicked still winning for Best Sound, switching that one from what I have currently, but we'll see. Yeah, man, I don't know, because we've still got almost a full week to overthink this and go back and forth and be like, okay, who's going to end up winning what? So I don't know. Hopefully I didn't talk myself into too many incorrect guesses here tonight, but still, man, Conclave winning for SAG and winning BAFTA, that throws a wrench into Anora's chances. So yeah, there is still genuinely some debate here. There's still, if Anora had won tonight, then I think we could have all gone to bed a little more comforted. If you're, somebody that's been predicting Anora and been like, yep, okay, it feels really solid. It's got the Triple Crown. Really rare, unless you're Apollo 13, evidently, really rare to lose all those and then, to win all those, to win Producers Guild, win Directors Guild, win SAG Ensemble, and then lose Best Picture. It's really, really rare. Doesn't happen that often. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. So yeah, I'll come back. We'll come back here probably Wednesday or Thursday with final predictions, but thank you, SAG, for giving us some more stuff to think about, particularly with Best Picture. So, thanks.